Now we're going to be multiplying decimals with decimals. So you have 34 hundredths, so you're multiplying times 2 tenths. So when it comes time to do that, the first step is to totally ignore those decimal points. So you're simply going to take 34 and multiply times 2. When you multiply times 2, you end up getting an answer of 68. And as we did before, I'm just going to go through, and each time you do 34 times 2, no matter where that decimal point is, you're still going to get these same digits, 6, 8, and then it's just a question of where you put the decimal point. Alright, in this case, you can see we have 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, and 3 decimal places. And so, when you look down here, you've only got 2 decimal places right now. If I was to put the decimal point right here, right before the 6, I would have 2 decimal places, 68 hundredths. But there are 3 decimal places in the problem, so I need to add a 0 here first. And then once I add a 0 there, now I can put a decimal point there, and I've got 1, 2, 3 decimal places. Just like I had in my problem, 1, 2, 3 decimal places. Okay? Alright, let's move on to the next. Like I had said, I'm going to have the same digits. Now it's just a question of where that decimal point is going to go. So first step, just go ahead and ignore those decimal points. (34 times 2) to get 68. In this case, we have 1, 2 decimal places. And so if I put the decimal point right here, I'll have 1, 2 decimal places. 2 decimal places in my problem, 2 decimal places in my answer. The reason I don't count the 3 as a decimal place because it is in front of the decimal point instead of after. To be one of the decimal places, you need to be right after the decimal point. Okay? Alright, now a new problem. 85 hundredths multiplied with 29 hundredths. So when I do this, again, the very first step is to go ahead and ignore those decimal points and just do 85 times 29. So there's 85 times 29. My first row is going to be with the 9. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 8 is 72, plus 4 more, 76. And now I need to run the 2 through. This is really a 20 because it's in the tens place, and so I need to start with a 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 more is 17. When I add those together, I get the digits 2, 4, 6, 5. Now as I go look up, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places in my problem, and so I'd like to have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places in my answer. So I look at the next one, I've got the same digits. The decimal points are in a different place, but I'm not going to get different digits. My first step is to go ahead and do 85 times 29. When I take 85 times 29, I'm going to get the exact same set of digits that I did here, 2, 4, 6, 5. It's just a question now of where does the decimal point go. In this problem I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So in this problem I'm going to have 3 decimal places right here. Sorry, in the answer I'm going to have 3 decimal places. 4, 6, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 decimal places. Again, the same thing is true here. 85 times 29 2, 4, 6, 5, the same digits. Now I've got 1, 2 decimal places, 1, 2 decimal places. And so when you multiply by decimals, it's just important to keep track of what the digits are when you multiply, and then keeping track of where does that decimal point go. Having the same number of decimal places in your problem and the same number of decimal places in your answer.